far beyond the mountains of Avlin, where the skies often shimmered with green ribbons of auroras, there lay a village called Dromir. It was a quiet place, surrounded by pine forests so dense that sunlight sometimes never touched the ground. The people of Dromir lived simply, tending to their goats and weaving cloth from flax. But every winter they held a curious tradition that outsiders never quite understood. On the longest night of the year, when the moon hid behind heavy clouds and the air turned sharp with frost, the villagers gathered around the ancient oak in the square. From its branches hung dozens of lanterns, each carved from ice and filled with flickering candles. They called it the Night of Listening. On this night, they believed, if one stayed silent and listened long enough, the oak would whisper stories from ages past. Among the villagers that winter was a boy named Keelan. He had always been skeptical, finding the idea of a tree that spoke to be more fantasy than truth. But this year, something in him stirred an unease he could not explain. His grandmother, the oldest in the village, had passed only weeks earlier, and Keelan missed her stories more than anything. So when the villagers gathered, he too stood beneath the lanterns, wrapped in his cloak, determined to hear what others claimed to. The night grew still, so still that even the wind seemed afraid to move. The candles inside the ice lanterns glowed with a soft, wavering light. Hours passed. Many villagers grew weary and left, but Keelan stayed. And then, just as the moon broke free from the clouds, he heard it. A low murmur like wind through hollow wood. At first, it was just sounds, but then words began to take shape. The oak spoke of an ancient traveler who once carried a flame that never died, a light meant to guide lost souls through endless winter. But the flame had been hidden, buried beneath the frozen river outside Dromir, awaiting the one who would dare to seek it. The voice was rough, like roots breaking through stone, yet Keelan felt no fear. Instead, he felt a warmth bloom in his chest, as though the flame the oak spoke of was already reaching for him. When morning came, the villagers found Keelan asleep at the roots of the oak. They teased him gently, saying he must have dreamed the whispers. But Keelan knew better. That very day, he set out for the frozen river with nothing but his lantern and his courage. He did not know what he would find, or if he would return with more than frostbitten fingers. But deep within him stirred the same certainty he once felt listening to his grandmother's story's truth hidden in a tale, waiting for the one who believed enough to follow it. And so, as the village of Dromir awoke to another winter's day, Keelan walked into the frostbound forest, carrying the weight of a story that had chosen him.